Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah. I couldn't keep away from MIA's new album. What can I say? I'm all talk. But you know what persuaded me to do this? It wasn't a review or a recommendation or an article or even the mod box or people who are subscribed to this channel begging me to review the album. It was NPR. I was listening to the radio and All Things Considered was having this little comments, emails portion at the end of their show where they read off listener responses. And this woman just chastised them harshly for even considering to play MIA's music, saying that when they were reviewing her album at the time when she was listening, it sounded like the radio was just exploding, and she turned off the radio, offended by the music, claiming that MIA stands for My Insane Album. So this review isn't just for my needle drops, it's not for the MIA fans, it's not for the MIA haters, it's for the NPR moms with conservative musical tastes. That's who this review goes out to. MIA is a singer, rapper, songwriter, all that good stuff. She's from the UK, and this is her third album. 2005's Aru Lar, I'm sorry to say, I think has gotten buried in a lot of the fame that she gained in 2007 with Kala. Because that album honestly was one of the most adventurous pop LPs to sit at the bottom of the Billboard Top 200 charts that year. It's a colorful fusion of Western hip-hop with elements of dancehall, reggae, and various forms of Caribbean music. There's tons of electro influence on there too, and at the time, the music was sexier. I had to fan myself off on a lot of these tracks. There were some cheap lyrics here and there, but it's excusable. This LP is about having fun. You don't need it to be deep. Now, as experimental as that LP was, in 2007, MIA got even weirder with Kala, and with samples of New Order and references to the Modern Lovers, this record caught my ear in a lot of places. The LP kept up a lot of the international influences that were found on its predecessor, and the beats were a little more hard-hitting too. MIA as an MC was just as in-your-face as ever, but I don't really know if she had a reason to be. The beats on this thing are really repetitive. Monotonous, in fact. A lot of these tracks chased their tails and featured some pretty obnoxious hooks, but there was still a lot of personality on this thing that I did enjoy. I didn't like it as much as I did Arular, but still a decent album. And so now we're here. Maya, look at this. Now, that's obnoxious. Yeah, look at that. I'm kidding. There's quite a bit of social critique on this record, just as there are on MIA's previous efforts, and it doesn't stop at the lyrics. One of the opening tracks has lyrics about stepping up in a club and speakers and has this really crunk beat, but it samples power tools that are placed at a volume that just basically drowns out all the other music in the mix. It's funny. But this is the first LP I think MIA put together that suffers from inconsistency. The following track, XXXO, would be ready for top 40 glory if only the music charts would make room for it. That track's clean studio sound was a surprise, and so was the sound that I found on tracks like Tequila and Story to Be Told, which sport a really clear dubstep influence, which is on the album thanks to a producer she collaborated with on this thing, Rusko. And though I do love dubstep, I do love the harsh sounds that came out of these tracks and just the style of that genre. MIA's flow gets a little clumsy at these slower tempos, sad to say. And another disappointment is the repetition that turned me off of a lot of tracks on Kala is in fact worse on this album. But the dance hall feel of It Takes a Muscle and the atmosphere of space are actually a welcome change of pace from that. But really, most of the tracks do just kind of recycle ideas to the point where they're underwhelming. Even the loud ones, especially on one of the singles, Born Free. That thing is just really psychedelic and just burns with distortion, but by the middle of it, I feel like it hasn't changed, it hasn't done much of anything in terms of introducing another idea, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, okay, That's cool. The song Meds and Feds, which actually samples sleigh bells, is kind of like that too. If you're not into the singles, I don't see this thing redeeming itself with the other tracks. But if you're looking for some pop with eccentric lyrics, distinctive female vocals, and very junkyard-esque beats, this is where you want to be. It kind of jumps all over the place, too. For me, this album isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not obnoxious like Uffy, and it's not a spectacle like Sleigh Bells. But it's not that great either. I know this thing has been pretty polarizing, but I'm kind of feeling a strong 5 on it. There were points that I really kind of dug, maybe a couple songs that I actually liked, but many of them I didn't really hate, but just kind of felt bored. If this is your first exposure to MIA, please go back, listen to those earlier albums, both of them, and if you're enjoying this, then keep on enjoying it. But tell me what you think of this album. Do you love it? Do you hate it? And why? Anthony Fantano, MIA, Maya, forever.